Can the boys make it 6? I repeat, 6 wins in a row. 18 points from 18 is up for grabs on Saturday at Aston Villa. But I think as far as this little tough run of 3 away matches goes, they don't come much tougher, as much as it pains me to say it, that awful lot, than Aston Villa, who've taken 19 points from the last 21. We're the informed team, they're the informed team. This match could go anywhere, but would you really doubt Eddie Howe's mags at the moment? The Aston Villa match preview is coming up, so make sure, Newcastle fans, you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you absolutely lovely Newcastle fans. I hope you've all had a cracking week. Why wouldn't you have had a cracking week? Not only is it a short week because of that long Easter weekend, yeah, you might have been nursing a hangover, but not only that, Newcastle United have won 5 games in a row. So walking into work, you should have a spring in your step. Making the tea, washing the dishes, walking the dog, you should be dancing whilst doing it. Because you've got to enjoy moments like this, and it's not very often you see a team in the Premier League win that many matches in a row. It's been fantastic. It has. And here we go again. 3rd away game of 3 in a row. That's a lot of away games. That's a lot of miles clocked up by fans. And yes, I will be going down to Aston Villa on Saturday morning. Bright and early for a 12:30 kick-off. Plenty of beers. I think I've just had a text saying the Jägermeister is going to be on the way as well. So it's going to be a Jaeger bomb type of trip. But the match vlog will be coming because of that. So that leads me on to my next point before we get into the match preview. Drop down and give me a little like. Little thumbs up goes a long way. But whack that subscribe, because you will see that match vlog. Speaking to fans, drinks on the way down, drinks in the pub, match reaction, video inside the stadium. Do it. Do it now so you don't miss that. So this is a difficult match. This is probably as difficult as them 3 away games come. I thought Brentford was going to be tough. It was. But we got over the line. But I think Aston Villa are one of the most informed teams. As I said at the start of the video, 19 points from 21. I don't like to speak too highly of Aston Villa because I think I speak for a lot of Newcastle fans where I don't hate them like some Newcastle fans maybe do. But I certainly don't like them. And I think there's enough. You only have to go on Twitter to see they seem to have wanted to create this rivalry with us. Maybe it's a bit of both. I don't know. We'll never forget what they did to us the day we were relegated. I know I probably mention it every year we play them. We'll never forget that. There was no history between the two clubs. And there was sob on the tie. And all them banners, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of talking about that too much. But that's where it started. And it's kind of gone on from there. We've got Villa pages on Twitter talking about Newcastle 24/7. They're talking about this game as if it's huge for them. I don't like them. Their fan base don't seem a nice lot. And obviously, if some fans watch this, I'm not talking about every Aston Villa fan. Of course, I'm not. We all have a funny minority. But social media for Aston Villa fans seems a funny place. And we've got plenty of revenge over the years. I remember beating them 1-0 at our place and we were all singing, you laughed at us when we went down. That's continued quite a lot. I remember when we beat them in the Championship when Lansbury scored an own goal. That was a great night as well. And we absolutely battered them earlier in the season. 4-0 could have been 7. They parked the bus in the first half and we destroyed them in the second. So, yeah, I don't like to speak too highly of Aston Villa, but they are very, very informed. And fair play to Unai Emery since he's come in. He seems to be putting his stamp on the team. I'm still glad we never got him. Of course, Unai Emery was in the stands when we beat them 4-0, I believe. That was just before he got the job at Aston Villa, when he watched us batter them. But he's doing well for them, but I would not change him for Eddie Howe in a million Sundays. I'm so glad. It's funny how things work out. And when I say I wouldn't change Eddie Howe for him, I wouldn't change Eddie Howe for many managers. And that's not Newcastle United tinted glasses. That's me seeing how Eddie Howe operates as a manager, how he is as a man manager, how obsessed he is with his job, how well he's done in the transfer market, how shrewd he's been in the transfer market, how he's changed the form of players and turned players who were on the way out into great players. I wouldn't change him at the moment for anyone. And even these big-time Charlie managers, the ones that you put in the A grades of managers around the world in Champions League and whatnot, they aren't the managers who stick around long-term, I don't think. And Eddie Howe is here for the foreseeable, and I absolutely love the man. He's sent us from relegation to Champions League. So no, I'm not jealous of Unai Emery, Mr. Count Dracula, in the slightest, but he's doing well for Aston Villa, so fair play to the man. They're very in form. They've turned things around. They're very good at home. They're not too shabby away from home. And 19 points from 21 speaks for itself. They are the in-form Premier League side at the moment. Sorry, my dog is just going running riot. Maggie, who many of you might have seen on my other social media channels, who guesses the scores, is running ragged in the background. So this is a tough one. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'm not as confident for this. And the reason I'm going to say that, yes, we've picked up the results, but if you break down how Newcastle have played in their last 4 matches away from home, we haven't actually been very good. West Ham, you might say, we won 5-1. Well, yeah, we won 5-1, but we were actually really sloppy with the ball. They handed us like I've never seen before 4 of them goals of the 5, at least. We were just very clinical, which was nice to see that day. Brentford, we were awful in the first half. Awful. Nick Pope saved us with the penalty. They obviously got another one. They had a goal offside. We were terrible. And we picked it up for a 20-minute spell in the second half, and Bruno and Joe Linton really got the game by the scruff for the next. And of course, Isak's right foot. Je ne sais quoi. But we haven't been very good in matches away from home. At home, totally different story more recently. High press, crowd on the side, lots of the ball, decent possession football, exciting to watch, on the front foot early, not so much away. And I think if we start anything like we did at Brentford at Aston Villa on Saturday, I'm worried. I am. We need to start the football match better. Eddie Howe will know that. Eddie Howe will definitely know that. But that isn't to say that I'm being Mr. Negative completely. I'm not saying Newcastle are going to lose the game on Saturday. I'm just saying when you're playing such an informed side, we can't afford to rely, like we did on Saturday, of like that Nick Pope penalty save or just getting through to half time. I don't want to see that on Saturday. I'd like to see a much better start. The lads, don't get me wrong, the lads played 3 matches in 6 days last week. Yes, we picked up 9 points, which was incredible, but that's a lot of football. And I know Eddie Howe's got options to rotate, and he did that. But even defensively, that's a lot of football for that same back 4, back 5 to be playing. We've had a full week to recover, a full week to edit for Eddie Howe to figure out what maybe didn't go so well against Brentford and maybe even in the West Ham match, even though we won. Because we know how obsessed he is. He read the riot act at West Ham. He won't have been happy at half-time. They were obviously better at Brentford. But we just haven't been great. And I know the results don't reflect that. But if you break things down, we haven't. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned going into this match. I think this game's going to be won in midfield, and I know lots of games are won in midfield. If we can really stifle their midfield, their players who like to bomb forward, that's going to be half the battle. I know Watkins is in form, but I do not worry about Ollie Watkins against Botman and Shah. I don't. I'm not a huge Ollie Watkins fan, and that might come back to bite me on the arse, that comment. I don't know. I'm not. He's not too much better than a Callum Wilson for me. From our striking options, yes, he's in form. Yes, he knows where the goal is. He's a poacher. But I think we have enough in our defence to deal with him. Again, comments like this can always bite us on the arse, and the Aston Villa fans are so obsessed they'll probably track this video down if things don't go well. So I might see me face on Twitter on Saturday afternoon. Fingers crossed I'm not. But yeah, now on to the team selections. Eddie Howe has an issue every single week now, and it's not bad issues, but he does. And I'm going to sit here and say exactly the same I said before the Brentford game. It's a difficult one. The only position I know bang on that I would change, without a doubt, is Isak over Wilson. Isak over Wilson, no questions asked. The only reason I'm saying that, they're both in form, and it's amazing to see Callum Wilson back. I think we all are a fan of Callum Wilson, and like I say, great to see him back in form, great to see him really fighting tooth and nail with Isak. Lovely to see them assist each other on Saturday at Brentford. He was very unselfish laying it off for Isak for that wonderful strike. But Isak for me is just a class above, and that's what he's looking at the moment. With every game he looks sharper. His first touch, he's the way he can glide with the ball. As soon as he picks it up, he wants to run at his man. His link-up play, his fitness is really surprising me as well, to say that he's been off with that injury layoff for so long before he came back. He has to start, and then Wilson is the impact sub coming off. Yes, there's Newcastle fans arguing why can't the two play together. It worked in that spell on at Brentford in the second half. I don't think Eddie Howe's ever going to play 2 strikers up front together. I could be wrong on that, but I just don't see it. So yes, we can romanticise with that idea all we want. I don't think Eddie Howe's going to do it. He's got a formation. He's got a setup he likes to play. Now, the wingers, obviously St. Maximin's injured. We don't know how injured he is. Apparently it was 6 weeks with a hamstring, which was awful news. And then he's out running on some sort of harbour on his Instagram story. Just shows we don't know what to believe. I don't think I'd be doing sprints back and forth if my hamstring was in shreds for 6 weeks. So we don't know, but he's definitely out for this one. He's a loss, and I think he was at Brentford. Murphy, I think, has to stay in. I like Jacob Murphy. I like his press. I like his energy. I like his directness to get the ball whipped in. And he hasn't done too much wrong over these sort of 3 matches in quick succession. I don't think he has. He wasn't great at Brentford, but I don't think anyone was in the first half. Anthony Gordon, him and Eddie Howe have kissed and made up. All is well in the world after his little spaff that was made. Too much of was made of that, in my opinion. I wasn't happy with the way he pushed Eddie Howe, but it happens. He's the sub who got subbed. No one likes being the sub who got subbed. So Anthony Gordon's definitely chomping at the bit because he came on the second half and made an impact. I would probably go Murphy on the right, Gordon on the left. I'd maybe start with that, see how we go. Now, Joelinton or Willock, you can argue those two could play on the left-hand side and switch, which we've seen successfully happen so many times. Oh, it's difficult. I think Longstaff has to come out, and Eddie Howe played with that on Saturday, and it worked in the second half, and we were better. I've always said Longstaff should play because he does a lot of work that the other three don't, and your Willocks, your Joelintons and your Brunos, and his numbers add up for that, and he's been so monumental in everything we've done good this season, even if he's maybe lacking that bit of quality at times in the final third. But I think we should maybe look now at bringing Longstaff out. He's probably the least in-form midfielder of all of our players. Joelinton came back in on Saturday and did wonderfully. I would maybe go Willock, Joelinton, Bruno. I really would, and emphasise Joelinton more on the aggression and the breaking up of play that Longstaff has been so good at doing. So that's my team. But hey, Eddie Howe's got some problems every single night. He's not sleeping well, is he? And it's good problems, and this is what it's like to be a Newcastle fan with squad depth. Imagine that. Very difficult game. I'm hoping for a good start. I'm hoping Isak continues where he's left off. I'm hoping our defence is going to have to be good. You're playing against a team who's taken 19 points from 21. Your defence has to be at the races. So I'm hoping Mr. Byrne, Mr. Botman, Mr. Shea and Mr. Trippier and Mr. Popey all put in his shift like we know that brick wall can. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to sit on the fence because it's two informed teams. Like I say, I'm going down, so I hope I've got more amazing scenes to put on the match vlog of us winning down there against that awful lot. Because the atmosphere is going to be a little bit toxic between the two set of fans. That's just how Aston Villa Newcastle goes these days. But I'm going to go for a draw. And I tell you what, 16 points for a possible 18. I'd snap your hand off now going to one of the most informed teams after the run of fixtures we've had. But you wouldn't bet against this Newcastle team to win it, would you? You really, really wouldn't, the form we're in. Newcastle fans, if you've stuck around this long, whack that subscribe so you catch the match vlog tomorrow as well. And let me know in the comments your thoughts on this game, what you think the score is going to be, who you would play, which is always a big question now, and just how you think it's going to go. Let me know your thoughts on Aston Villa as well. Do you have a bit of a problem with them, or do you not give two shites? Let me know, and I'll touch down for what will be a very drunken match vlog on the party bus down to Aston Villa. How are the lads?